This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian.
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy James.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey everyone, this is Savanna Stone here with Wrestling with Entertainment. Glad to be here.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the Unbreakable Hand of Fortune, Savanna Stone.
What's up? What's up? Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Can you tell us where the Unbreakable Hand of Fortune will be breaking people next?
I love that. I will be breaking people all over California. Right now is where my main focus is. I am getting ready to travel, but right now you can find me at shows. Sorry, I apologize. My voice is like cutting in and out. I just had a show yesterday and I was screaming. So if you can hear me, you can find me at House of Lucha. That's Friday, June 28th. And I'm really excited for that one. I'll be going against J-Rod herself. You can also find me at Relentless Pro. And you can also find me at Amped Champ City Slam. There's a few other places too in mind. So just keep your eyes open. You can always follow me on my social media sites. So you can follow me on Instagram, Savanna Stone 01. My Facebook is just Savanna Stone, plain and simple. Yeah.
And where can we find
Merchandise. So you can go ahead and check out my Instagram. It's actually attached in the link in bio above. So you can go ahead and click on that, and it has a whole list of merchandise. It goes from t-shirts by 8x10 signed. We have posters coming. We also have handmade candles, which I'm really excited about. We have a lot of cool things out there, stickers as well. So definitely go and check that out.
Handmade candles? Are you making candles?
Yes. So I'm actually collabing. Ryan is his name, and he started the business, and he does homemade candles with beeswax and just all different kinds of smells. You go from completely organic to CBD. Basically, whatever you're looking for in candle form, he can make it for you. And I got very inspired, and I loved him. I found him at a farmer's market, and I was like, oh my gosh, we need to collab. We need to have like a set of Unbreakable Savanna Stone candles. So I have learned the process. He's been like willing to teach me the process and the method to his madness. So yes, I'm really excited to release that.
We'll put a pin in that for a second. You could find, you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all her social media and merchandise will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Okay, so let's get into candle making, because we're on that topic right now. Yeah. How is it going as of right now?
I love it. I find it's a very peaceful thing. The process in which he was so graciously to show me, he does his best work in the morning. So we get up early in the morning and we just like create, and it's just an awesome process. I don't want to give too much away because I'm actually have my own YouTube channel going out, and I want to have that be like a day in a YouTube video, kind of really breaking down the process of like what it takes to make these candles. And these candles are super fun because they're like skull heads with snakes and different colors and dyes and middle fingers because I'm sassy and just fun different little versions of Savanna Stone that reminds you of Savanna Stone. So
very on brand for Savanna Stone.
Yes, very much so.
All right. Well, other than candle making, you're a pro wrestler. While you're here.
Yes. Yes.
And you've had a collection of who's who that you've wrestled. One of the names that stick out to me is Holidead. Can you tell us
Yes.
about wrestling Holidead and actually getting the W on her?
Yes, yes. So I got to wrestle her back in my younger days of my career. So I believe I want to say I was 18, if memory serves me correctly, maybe 19, around that age. I started when I was 16 years old. I'm 24 now, just to give a little backside. Wrestling her at around that age was just so, I feel like, important to my career at the time, because not only was she just a huge name, but it was a high-class match at a high-class company in Chicago, on pay-per-view, and that was like the first time I was ever on pay-per-view. So she not only guided me, but was very gracious, and in the sense of allowing me the courtesy of going over and not being selfish in this business. I know that's kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit, but I want to give a round of applause where it's due, you know? She was awesome to work with, long story short.
Gracious enough to give you the W, but I can imagine that she was maybe a little bit snug. Just from stories that I've heard.
She's a very, very strong style indeed. And in fact, it's kind of funny because when I first started my professional journey, I was very the technical term is lucha. I was very high flying, very acrobatic, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, I still have some of that moveset today, but towards my journey and now being older, I just feel like getting to wrestle those names like Holidead kind of brought out that like powerhouse side of me. Like I got to face a lot of powerhouses young in my career as the baby face, as the underdog. So yeah, she was very strong, very hard hitting, a very big reason why I am as strong and hard hitting as I am today.
So it sounds like you kind of learned some things about yourself wrestling Holidead.
Absolutely. I think every match, just in general, whether it's a name or not a name, a high-class match or not a high-class match, you can learn something. I know that's kind of cliche, but yes, absolutely. When you get a name like that and a company like that with a crowd like that, you have no choice but to learn. So it was very exciting to learn from someone who had so much knowledge in the business, for sure, and who was willing to teach.
Okay. Now, I was very interested to see that you actually worked for CCW, one of the well-known independent promotions, one of the longest-running independent promotions.
Yes.
What was your relationship with CCW and DJ Hyde?
Very good at the time, yeah. Like, he met me very young in my career. Again, like I said, I started when I was 16, so I just got all of these connections so very young in my career, which just was, I was taught very young to travel as much as possible. And when you're 16, you don't really have much to do besides school, so jump on board and take it while you can. And one of the opportunities that was presented to me, I think I met DJ Hyde around, I want to say I was around maybe 17, 18 years old. And that was around the time I actually exposed myself to the East Coast area, which is a totally different scene. I grew up in the Midwest area, in the Midwest wrestling scene, and then started my way in the East Coast, and he was one of just the people that granted me an opportunity. And I got to wrestle Chris Statlander, which was freaking awesome, as a main event. And he also booked me against Layla Hirsch, which is another well-known name on TV right now too. So like, I got to wrestle a lot of good people. So yeah, it was awesome getting to work on those kind of stage and that kind of quality of matches too.
I did notice that you were on an event that was a joint show between CCW and WXW.
Yes.
Was there any talk of you heading overseas?
Overseas, no. I've been trying to for a while now. I had separate to WSU and CZW, I had an opportunity, but like a lot of wrestlers, COVID hit, and kind of took away a lot of opportunities overseas. So my goal now, I have some good connections. So yes, traveling is part of the goal and plan in mind. So hopefully you'll see me in the UK or Germany or something like that. And I get that opportunity back. But, you know, fingers crossed, you never know what happens in this business.
Hell yeah. Well, you know, you mentioned East Coast, and being on that side of the world, the country.
Yeah.
You are currently residing in California, you know, the West Coast. What
Yes.
kind of inspired the change to head to the West Coast?
I love getting asked this question because I feel like it's a crazy little story. Just to break it down, long story short, to answer your question, COVID. But it's a little bit deeper than that. So basically, like I said, I started in the Midwest for a great period of time, 16 through, I want to say almost 2021-ish. And that was around COVID time it hit. And at that point in my career, I felt like a lot at such a young age. And I had broken kind of through that scene. And I just wanted to move somewhere where I hadn't touched. I had touched the East Coast. I had some family out here and I didn't have family on the East Coast. And that was basically the deciding factor, was like, I know both coasts were really expensive to live in, and I'm like, I wanted a backup plan, worst case scenario. But I came out here and got a lot of good connections, and I'm really happy with my decision. I love wrestling out here on the West Coast and shaking up the scene.
I bet you wasn't ready for the gas prices, no?
Oh my gosh, the gas prices are, I mean, everything in California is insane. The prices are insane, ridiculous. I mean, the price of just rent alone is like a down payment on a house in Missouri. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, you know, you mentioned, you know, you started out with a more lucha background. And obviously, you know, California is a very lucha libre heavy state. So have you gotten to explore that side of yourself more, or have you leaned, was it a reason to lean more into the brawler side?
So that's a really good question, actually. Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm excited that you asked that. So for me personally, when I got to California, I was dipping my toes in as kind of a lucha style around COVID. But it was right around COVID, so I kind of got to like see the scene before the scene really picked back up and COVID kind of like, you know, like finally slowed down. But to answer your question, basically, I chose Powerhouse. I actually chose to completely strip away everything that I knew from lucha and completely like go a different style. And the reason being was because everyone here is so lucha and has the same style. They don't wrestle the same, but they have similar styles. And I thought to myself, you know, I really want to stand out here. It's a big old coast. I do have a name, but I am new to the scene. And I thought to myself, you know, let's do this. Let's go full throttle. Let's change my style. Let's change my look. Let's change just even the fact of me being a babyface from a bad guy. You know, I was a babyface for most of my career, but I came out here to the West Coast and I really dove into you know, the bad version, the darker version of me. And yeah, so yeah, to answer your question, I wanted to do that because I feel like nobody else was doing it. Now I'm at a point where I'm at the West Coast and I feel like a lot of eyes are on me. So I want to kind of blend all my styles together. So I'm hoping with these next few showcases that I mentioned earlier, that you'll see like in matches with J-Rod, because she is a great opponent on House of Lucha, that like you'll see a hybrid style of lucha wrestling and of Powerhouse style. You know, you just never know.
Right. And a lot of, you know, you're saying making your name on the West Coast, a lot of that has been with championship wrestling.
Yes, yeah.
Can you tell us about that relationship?
Yes, I am absolutely grateful for championship wrestling. I really feel I was very lost when I moved out to the West Coast. I mean, I was in, again, the Midwest for like almost 6 years of my career. So not like long, but long enough to be comfortable in that area. So moving from the West Coast and really changing it, like I needed someone to bank on me. You know, I knew I was a name, but I needed someone to bank on me. And championship were those eyes for me. What was that name? Was that stage and platform for me, and they took a liking to me, and they ran with me, and I loved the opportunities that they had presented me, and I have a great working relationship with them very much.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention your rivalry with Zeta Zhang.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I like to think of Zeta Zhang as my partner in crime to some extent. We're yin and yang off of each other for sure. I think we both are very alpha female perspectives. We both are hungry for opportunities, and we both want to be on top of the women's division and just on top of the scene of professional wrestling in general. But, at the end of the day, there can only be one person on top. So, that's where the conflict of interest comes out. She has a certain way of doing things, and I have a certain way of doing things, and we just clash heads on that matter. But as an opponent, I do respect her very much.
But obviously she was signed to WWE at one point. So what did it kind of mean to you to get, a W on a high-profile name?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, again, for me, it's one of those things where, like, I feel like, and I'm not trying to be cocky here, but I've been doing that. You can look at my resume. I've been doing that really from the beginning of my career. So do I take it and run with it and become cocky with it? No, but I do hold myself to the level of knowing that I can beat women with those kind of names and those kind of relationships with those kind of businesses and things. So yeah, it's very entertaining for me to wrestle girls like her who have had those opportunities, because it kind of is a little it's a little smack in the face. It's like, hey, I'm here too, and I'm ready and I'm hungry, and I'm right here to nose and nose with you, basically.
Well, another name from the WWE that you wrestled was Catalina Garcia. Doesn't necessarily matter where it was, but you do have a W on her. So what was that experience like, getting in the ring with her?
Catalina is actually, it was crazy to get in the ring with her, because we are in fact the same age, which is kind of crazy to think about. She started her professional journey very young, same as me, a little bit younger than me. Actually, I started when I was 16. I believe she started a little bit younger than I did. And so we both had an understanding of getting trained in this business young, as a woman, as a female too, which is very different, and traveling at a very young age. And for me, Catalina, I think, was a very big stepping stone in my career. And you can say that's sassy all you want, but it was a very big stepping stone in my career, because I demasked her. And that was the first luchador mask lucha mask I took. And for me, I took her face, I took her smile. And at the time I was not in a very happy place. The tables had turned. People loved me when I was young, and now hate me because I have an attitude. And so getting to take her smile and getting to take her face and kind of brag with it was good for me in my career.
No, I mean, you were trained in lucha. You must know that taking a luchador's mask is the highest form of disrespect. No?
I think it's the highest form of disrespect is to cover your face, in my opinion, because I've had to face blatant disrespect, doubt, hate, you name it, I've faced it, just because I talk and tell the truth, and my own truth, not the ultimate truth, but my truth, and I do that face on. I do that with no mask. And so in a moment like that, yeah, I wanted to prove something. I wanted to prove that I can do this without a mask. I can do this. You know, it's easy to smile and cheer when your face is covered and you don't really see the hate eye to eye, you know, and I needed her to understand that. So taking her mask, yeah, was it disrespectful? But, you know, she disrespected me first. And, you know, to add to that, I'm proud to say I did it again at Relentless Pro just last night. I had my return match against Hit Girl and I demasked her as well, you know?
That's definitely an interesting way of looking at things, and I absolutely love it.
My thing is this: in wrestling, there's a side to everything. There's a side to every story. There's your side, your opponent's side, the company side, the fan side, and then business. And that's a lot of different sides, and that's how I view it. And you can love me and you can hate me all you want, but I have a reason for everything that I do, and I believe that's why the fans have a very mixed reaction with me today.
Well, I did notice, researching you, when it comes to promos on the independent scene, there's either they're non-existent or they're more on the basic side. When I was watching your promos, honestly, some of the highest grade promos I've seen doing this
I appreciate that very much.
For a very long time. There's such a believability to it. So how did you go into cutting such, passionate promos as a heel and making me believe it?
Yeah, that's like a really deep personal question for me, and that's no joke, that's no gimmick, that's no it's a very deep personal question for me because for me, the whole reason I started professional wrestling is because I felt like I lost my voice, and I needed to get it back. And I felt like for some reason that was the way to do it. I had watched Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, Paige, AJ Lee. Those were the girls that inspired me at the time. And it was the one thing that I felt like I needed to chase in a moment where I had no voice at all. And so when I got the opportunity to finally talk for the first time, I had nothing to say. And I remember that feeling, and then I remember feeling that feeling, and then remembering that there's a camera on top of that. And that's like a double slam. Not only do you not know what to say, but it's embarrassing because you're in front of a camera. And I remember never wanting to feel that way again, because now I had felt it as my legitimate self, and then I had felt it as the form of entertainment, like the performer side of myself, And for me, that was the smack of reality that I needed. And so promos for me fed me, because even though at the time I was going to high school and I couldn't talk and I was getting bullied, I was able to say all these things in my professional career that I was doing on the side of high school. And it just kind of carried through to now. And so now I separate the two. So now I take, and there are, I'm not going to lie to you, sometimes there is some truth to it. And I think that's the art of storytelling, is that there has to be some truth to it. There has to be some believability to it. There has to be some sort of question to it, because that's where the emotion comes from. But you got to do it yet still in a safe, entertaining, in a way that people want to come back and see more, And I think that's the art of the promo game itself. And then just speaking that and explaining that's a big monster to tackle, along with just trying not to, die from wrestling, So it's hard. And I think that's why people are so hesitant. You said perfectly, the independent scene is very lacking on that. And I think that's the answer as to why, is because it contains all of that, if not more,
Right. Personal feelings on, pro wrestling, you talk them into the arena. You talk them into buying a ticket.
Absolutely.
And, that's, if you can't cut a promo, then you're not making as much as you can.
Exactly. One of the biggest things is just the voice alone. Like, can you sell your own product? It's weird to think of it like that, but I think that's the issue with a lot of wrestlers today. They still have that idea and concept because when you start your professional journey as a wrestler, you're taught to be a wrestler, but you kind of have to then eventually escalate that from, okay, yes, I'm a wrestler, but I'm a businesswoman, or I'm a businessman, or I'm, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a business too. I'm a business entity, because that's the promo game. In my opinion, I view the promo game as business. It's not something, it's not like, oh, well, I don't want to do a drop kick. I don't want to do a promo. No, it's business. It's like, you have to do it. It's literally what gets you the money. And like you said, it's literally what gets you the money, is because if you can't sell your product, who wants to buy it, kind of thing.
Exactly. Was it cutting promos? Is there somebody that kind of guided you on that path, helped you refine your promos, or was it just, what you were speaking about, you just, tapping into that other side of yourself?
I think that's a good question. I think in this case, this is where wrestling's kind of a beautiful, twisted game, in my opinion, because sometimes there's things and people that help you because they don't help you, or they actually make things like worse for you in a weird way. Like, you're a helping hand because you weren't a helping hand and you bit the hand that fed you, kind of thing. And so, like, for me, the promo game aspect, like, I could list you days on days and days of names of people that have helped me psychology wise in the game of professional wrestling and the art of wrestling. But for promos, I want to say it's almost the opposite. Like I said, I had a lot of big names at the time attack me, and they attacked me for my age, or they attacked me for this, that, and the other, just obvious things. Because again, when you start at 16 and you're dealing with people and women who have been in the business for, like, over a decade, they're gonna look at you as like kind of a joke until you show them that you can do something, Right. And so they talk like you're a joke. And that's one of those things where, like, for me, I took that as an offensive thing. I knew what they were doing. I understand the art and business of the game, but that's not what I wanted my name to be. I didn't want my name to be like, hey, the young kid Savanna Stone. That's not how I saw my character. So for me, that's what kind of kickstarted my promos. Well, you're not going to be the narrator narrating my story, kind of thing. I'm going to be the narrator to my own character and my own business, my own storytelling, because that's and that's what I try to convince other wrestlers around me if they ask that question, is if you don't cut promos, you're leaving it in other people's hands, or other fans, or business, or even just other companies to tell your story and basically be the voice for you. And for me, that's scary. Yes. I'd rather tell it myself.
And that's how it should be. Not just in pro wrestling, just in general.
Absolutely.
Now, we mentioned, all of the WWE names you've been in the ring with. You've actually made an appearance on WWE TV, Monday Night Raw, against Nia Jax. Yes. What was that experience like?
Oh my gosh, I still remember the feeling like it was yesterday. And what I mean by that is just the feeling of knowing that that's where I want to be and that's where I belong. And I knew that I had to keep that feeling when I was there, and understand that my time might be literally tomorrow. Like, I might do this match with Nia Jax and they might sign me tomorrow, or it might take another decade to be here. But I knew that was the deciding factor. And so for me, it's one of those things where I took that opportunity because I was the youngest ever woman to be on WWE. I was 17 years old at the time. Oh, wow. So like, I took that and I ran with it. And for me, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, where, you're even lucky if you get that opportunity as an independent wrestler. And so, I know independent wrestlers that are very talented that have never gotten to see the light of day of WWE locker room at all. And so for me, that was one of those things where it's like, I was very lucky to have that opportunity at 17 and kind of know, like, okay, this is what I'm after now. I've tasted it. I've tasted that small little glory bite basically. And that's just what I continue to do. So when I doubt myself or I have those questions or, fans say mean things and it gets to me or something like that, or I'm just having like an emotional day, I think about that and it brings me back. It really does. And she was a pleasure to work with and so nice to talk to and pick her brain. And it was an awesome experience.
Now, obviously, that's the biggest stage you've been on to date. Is that a moment you take in the moment, or is it something that kind of sets in afterwards, like, wow, I did that?
For me, I took it in right at the moment that it happened. The referee at the time had told me to walk down the WWE ramp, and he gave me the best piece of advice I feel like anybody ever gave me in professional wrestling at that moment, and it was soak it all in. And I loved that because I was so focused on so many other things. I think that would have been the one thing I wouldn't have done. And I did. From the moment I walked in, I literally remember closing my eyes because the ramp was dark and hearing the crowd and hearing what the crowd sounded like before Nia Jax's music hit and what the ring felt like. I know that sounds very dramatic and specific, but I very much, even at that age, understood the significance of that moment and just soaking it all in and appreciating it,
Yeah, I get it. Who's telling you your name is Vanessa Floyd?
So that I don't know who decided that. I just know that I checked WWE the next day right after the Nia Jax match that I had, and I was on the front of the WWE site at the time that they had the WWE Network, and it said Nia Jax versus Vanessa Floyd, and I was like, oh. Whoa, okay, cool. I'll roll with it. I don't care. I'll rock that name. But yeah, so since then, that's him. So it's I had a blast in the back. I really did. It was like a dream come true for sure. Kid at a candy shop.
You actually got to shake Vince McMahon's hand?
I did, yes. I did get to shake his hand right after the match. Nia was so blessed me so much and walked me over to Vince McMahon, who was watching my match, and shook my hand, and he said, very good job. And then Nia was like, yeah, Vince, he's 16 boss. She's 17 boss. And he was he looked double took and he was very good job. And I remember that's one of those things where it's you can look at that and you can think, okay, well, I'm 24 now, damn it, did I miss it? No, I didn't. And you just have to have that positive mindset of where for me, that moment feeds me. It reminds me hey, if they saw it back then, imagine when they see it now,
Hell yeah. Now, going from names from obviously WWE, some of the biggest names of WWE, to one of the biggest names of TNA, and that's Angelina Love.
Yes.
What was it that experience wrestling Angelina Love?
Angelina Love was amazing. She prepared me for so much in this business. At that point, I really, really was a very naive child to this business. And she just, I don't know, like she lent me so much information. She met up with me at my home dojo at the time, literally just to train with me and just like teach me and sit down. And she had her kid with her like the whole time. And so she exposed me to the side of the business of like being a mom. Like you see it on like a, you know, like, reality TV show kind of level, but you don't see it necessarily like at a face value level. And so like she showed that you can be a mom and a wrestler and a badass and still a teacher all at the same time in this business. And I really took that with me. And she also was one of the first women to really acknowledge and sit me down and be like, hey, this is the no side of the business. This is the bad side of the business. Stay away from this because this is real and this shit actually happens. And kind of took a bit of a mask off, but I knew she did it to protect me. And I think that was very strong in that moment. I'm realizing right now as I say it, it was obviously one of the ultimate bad guy heels of our, of the business of TNA. And I think sometimes as a heel and as a woman heel, you get a lot of backlash and you see a lot of like dark sides of the business, you know? And I think for her to warn me of that, even though I was so young and at my baby face side of the career, it's something I took with me that like now I apply, you know?
I gotcha. And Angelina Love still doing it at a high level even today.
Literally, yeah. Never stops.
Yes. Speaking of never stopping, when it comes to female independent pro wrestlers, I argue to find a bigger name than LuFisto, which you've wrestled.
Yes.
Tell us about wrestling LuFisto.
LuFisto was a really cool match because she was my match right after Nia Jax, so I had really good hype right after Monday Night Raw, and I just turned 18 years old. I had my match with Nia Jax, I was 17, had my birthday, and then wrestled LuFisto, and she was amazing. She was, again, one of those matches kind of like Holidead, where it was like, hey, yo, kid, welcome to the freaking business, you piece of, like, and I'm grateful for that because, again, it was something that I needed, and not that I had a bad attitude or needed to get my ass kicked, but I think because if I want to be the kind of woman that I want to be and talk the way that I want to talk, and like we go back to talking about those promos, you got to walk the walk. And I think that was something that, she helped me in her own right, whether she wanted to or not, whether any of them wanted to or not. They helped me. And I think LuFisto in this case absolutely did. She's a very giving person and she's very welcoming to teaching women the art of professional wrestling. And that's what's so cool about her, is she's still so giving after all these years.
Who hit harder, Nia Jax or LuFisto?
I would say definitely Nia Jax, just because of the size difference. Me and LuFisto, I'm actually, and she might kick my ass just for saying this, but you know what? I'm no longer 18, LuFisto, so come at me. But LuFisto, I'm actually a little bit taller than LuFisto, and Nia Jax was just like, her little nickname for me that day that I wrestled her was snack size, just to give you a concept. So like, she was so huge. It was crazy.
Okay. I think that's a great segue into Savanna's bizarre adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I don't know if it's like, it's bizarre and weird and kind of cringe, okay? But, okay, so I had, and I'm not going to say, I won't out anybody, but it is a story. I had I was in the Midwest at the time. I had turned, I think, 19 years old, and I had already started traveling the East Coast and like really traveling, and I was supposed to be doing a big show, and I was going to go to Texas, and we had picked up a show along the way on top of the shows that we were going to go to, already booked. And the guy was like, hey, we're going to book your carload. We'll throw you in. I got you a match. I got your two dudes a match. It's going to be all good. And I'm like, dope. Awesome. We agreed on a rate and everything. I get there and the guy completely changes his on me. And
Oh no.
now wait a second, because you're like, okay, it's wrestling, things change. Okay, no worries, right? He wanted me to go in and be this dude's manager, and I was like, whatever, as long as I'm getting paid my rate, I don't care. And then he's like, no, I want you to be like basically his like whore and like making out and just like slutting out. And I'm like, what? Like, no, no, absolutely not. I came here to have a wrestling match, and then I was willing to be a manager, and then you like kept pushing me. You have to remember, I just turned 18, and this guy is like easily 20 years older than me. And I was just like, I don't feel comfortable doing this. And I remember saying that, and him just being the booker at the time, just being like yelling, like literally screaming at me in front of all these like random guys in the locker room, being like, I can't believe blah, 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 blah. And like he eventually come to find out the Me Too movement happened, and he actually ended up getting outed for a lot of other issues. Like Jordan Grace had an issue with him, and like a bunch of other women did too. I think Thunder Rosa did as well. But again, it was just one of those things at the time. I was like, this is insanity. Like, I will need to get the hell out of here. I want to run away. I'm in Texas. I almost wanted to call my mom. It was such a weird thing. And I just remember like all the guys afterwards when the booker left was like, are you okay? Or like I was crying. I'd never had a booker make me cry before, but I stuck my guns. Like, yes, I was 18, but I'm telling you right now, I held my guns and I was like, I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. I will walk out with him. I will hold his hand, and that is it, you know? And I did it. I did the damn thing because I wanted to get paid, but I didn't do it the way that they wanted me to. And that's just like a kind of a story where it's a little weird, but at the same time, hold your ground, ladies and gentlemen, if you're getting screwed over. If you agree to something, make sure it's in writing and don't go back on that.
Oh yeah. I'm glad you said he got outed, because it sounds like he needed to be outed. Yeah, for sure. Alright. Now can you tell us about the advantages and disadvantages of wrestling your significant other?
Wrestling a significant other. Well, I would say the advantages is that you know them like the back of your hand, and you can run storylines, and you can run matches, and you can run literally everything, advertisement, everything through them. Because, you know, you got that special connection. I would say the hard maybe thing, not necessarily disadvantage, but a hard thing is just that it's constantly go, 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 go all the time, because your partner has a career, you have a career, and then if you're trying to blend your careers together, it's a lot. It's not bad, it's just a lot, you know?
No, I got it.
So that would be my, like, pro and con.
Okay. Now, you know, we've been talking about, you know, all these big names that you've wrestled. There's a hell of a lot more that we could go down. But can you tell us about wrestling Freddy Krueger and Lady Deadpool?
Yeah. That was a funny match. That was a funny match. That's all I'm going to say to that. That was a funny match.
Was there a reason?
Enough said. Enough said.
Was there a reason you didn't have a costume?
I feel like I'm enough of an entity on my own without a costume, you know?
Oh, no.
Like the names and labels people throw on me and my character and my gimmick, I feel like is already a costume in and of itself, if that makes sense.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Alright. Can you tell us if there is any meaning behind your tattoos?
Absolutely. I just recently got these, actually. I had waited a long time, it feels like. I know I'm only 24, but I've waited a long time to get tattoos. I've always wanted to get tattoos, but I wanted them to have meaning, and I didn't know, and I wanted to make sure, like, when I got it, it would be something that I wanted, you know, long term. So I have right now 6 tattoos. The first tattoo I ever got was the Tree of Life. It was actually to cover up some self-harm. And that was the day that I decided, basically, it was on my 24th birthday, I decided to, I chose life. Like, I don't want to die anymore. Like, I suffered depression for a very, very, very long time and hating myself for a very long time. So this was kind of the promise to myself where it was like, no matter how bad it gets, like, I'm choosing to freaking live, you know?
Right.
And then the next one that I got was it's actually a very personal one. You don't always see it all the time, but you see it in my gear. It's on my cleavage area, chest bone area. And that one was just a very personal one for me. But it's kind of my shield. It's kind of my armor. At the time, a friend had told me, Holmes, shout out to Alex, because he is one of my photographers and part of my team. And we were on the phone and he was like, Holmes, you know, your shield, like, it's down, it's hurt, you're hurting right now, you're still healing, but that's okay. Like, you're going to come back stronger than ever, referencing my career. And I was like, you know what, you're right. I admit that. So that was kind of an, admitting it to myself and protecting my heart kind of tattoo. And then I got on right between my elbow crease, as weird as that sounds, I got a phase of the moon tattoo, and that just describes like womanhood and becoming and really accepting being a woman. And that kind of explains like the whole skirt process. Like, I've always worn pants, and I'm just being more in touch with my feminine side and realizing like, hey, I can kick ass in a skirt and still like be a badass bitch doing it. Sorry. And then I got my all-seeing eye behind my, and this is a little peekaboo tattoo because most people don't see it because I have my dreadlocks. But I got an all-seeing eye on the back of my neck. Is just kind of like, you know, I see everything now. Like, I'm open to all perspective now, basically. And then lastly, but definitely, actually not last, two more, my apologies. I got my snake tattoo, and my snake tattoo is very special to me because that's kind of a representation of the labels that people have thrown on me. So I have a snake kind of coraled up with flowers. And that is just kind of a description on like, it's your choice. I'm either a snake or a flower or the flower. Like, it's your choice on how you perceive me. And you know, I accept myself as both. I think I could be both, and we all can. And then lastly, this is the last one. I know it's been a long one. I got a throat tattoo, and it's right on my voice box. And that was the ultimate promise to myself, basically, that I have my voice back and I'm never gonna like let it go again. And so, yeah, you talked to me about promos, and now when I cut promos, I point to that tattoo right where my throat is, because that's how important it is for me, you know?
I can imagine that one was somewhat difficult to get, because I remember Undertaker saying that the tattoo on his throat was excruciating.
It was very, very, very painful, but my tattoo artist that I have it's actually the same tattoo artist. Most people don't have the same tattoo artist I do. The first tattoo I have and the last tattoo I have and all of them in between are done by the same person. He was very, very good. He did a very good job, and it was very painful. We fought through it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, we fought through that, but we got there, and I think he did an amazing job, and I love the piece.
Are all the tattoos that you mentioned, are you designing them yourself, or are you kind of describing to him like what you want, and you kind of come to a decision together?
It's a little bit of everything and all in between. I have a core concept, and he knows that I am a professional wrestler, so he knows that I want these tattoos as double meanings. They have to match my personal life but also my professional life. And so, yeah, we kind of sit there and we think about it and we play around with it, and you know, he gets really creative with the colors. That's my thing. I let him, I like to let, as a person who is an artist, just a different form of art, professional wrestling, I like when people give like the freedom, when people give the freedom of allowing the artist to just kind of do them. And so I try to, in most scenarios, once I pick the design out, to let him just do his thing. And I love what he's done so far.
Is there any plans for new ink in the future?
Oh yeah. With time and with the right healing and the right, the right designs, the right placement, absolutely. But it's no rush,
I gotcha. All right. Now, like I said at the top of the show, you are the Unbreakable Hand of Fortune.
Yes.
Can you tell us the last thing the Hands of Fortune broke?
A lucha mask. That's the last thing I broke. I mean, I broke a pen too, but I don't feel like that's as cool of an answer. So.
All right. That's a great segue into the colossal question. Let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Ooh, something with Lauren Babick for sure, because that's like literally my entrance music. So like Violence, like Here Comes the Violence would be a good one by her. It's not her song, but she just does a cover of it and I really like it.
Okay.
And then probably also Taylor Swift. I know that's like 2 very different artists, but you know what? I'm not upset by it. I love her, and hate me all you want. She's the freaking best.
What are you getting from Taylor Swift?
What am I getting to say? All of her songs from the beginning, the whole entire album, all of her albums, the whole soundtrack. You can just pull it. I can't pick a song.
Okay, so basically copy and paste the Taylor Swift album.
Honestly, you just hit my heart there. You really did.
All right. Very interesting soundtrack to say the least.
Yeah.
But now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go to casting. Who plays Savanna? And you can't say yourself because you are obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
I would say Angelina Jolie. I love it. I know we don't look alike, but she's a badass, and she was the original person of why I wanted to create Savanna Stone. So, yeah, Angelina Jolie for sure.
Are we talking Tomb Raider Angelina Jolie?
Yeah. We're talking like Lauren Croft, like Angelina Jolie.
Hell yeah. My favorite version of Angelina Jolie too.
Hey.
Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
Oh man, that's such a good question. I would say I would have. Ooh, put me on the spot here. Dang it. I would have. Taylor Swift. I'm just making this up now. I don't even care. This is just a fantasy now at this point. I would have Taylor Swift, and I would have The Rock, and I would have them play my girlfriend and boyfriend. Because I have a girlfriend and boyfriend, and they're very, very supportive to my career and helping me. They actually are the whole basically reason I feel like this new version of Savvy Stone has come out. They've been very big inspiration to it, to say the least. The muse, I would say. I have my girlfriend is Naughty Sasquatch, and she does dreadlocks, and so she did my whole dreadlock journey. And then Ryan the one who has the candle business and everything like that, is also my manager and helps me do merchandise. And he also is in photography and takes all the photos now. So like they're like a well-oiled machine, basically helping me chase my dream.
Okay. You still have one more position to fill.
One more person. Dang it. Okay, let me see. One more person. I would say I would have let me see. Charlotte Flair play Zeta Zhang. I know that's not like they don't look alike, but I think Zeta Zhang is another very important person, just not in my professional journey, but also personal journey as well.
Okay. And definitely an all-star cast, a blockbuster to say the least.
Yeah.
And you could pre-order the tickets now. Okay. Onto a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
I feel like it's okay, but it really has to be a very good pizza. Like it can't just like, it wouldn't be like my go-to, and I really have to be in the mood for it.
So, leaning more towards pro.
So like yes, but no, but yes. That's my answer.
Okay. What's your spirit Pokemon?
Actually, see, this is where I'm the ultimate heel. Pokemon was not something I got to follow very much of.
I gotcha. That's fine. That is fine.
What is yours, though? I would like to know.
My spirit Pokemon is Articuno. Because
Articuno.
Yes, because I'm legendary. I like to stay on my island, and I don't like people touching my shit.
Okay, I respect that.
Yes,
I respect it.
it's a very if you've seen the anime, then you know what I'm talking about.
Heck yeah. I gotta ask, my daughter Katana is here, and she's like super into Pokemon, so I bet she knows exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, the movie that I'm referencing is from 2000. So,
Okay.
24 years
Maybe
ago.
not then, I don't know. That was when I was born, so maybe not then.
Yes, I'm very much dating myself at this point. Now we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
I do not.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail. 'Cause a Doug can't spell. Now, weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
I feel like that is a really bizarre, weird question. It depends on how much they pay me, I guess. As long as I'm the one going over, like, I don't know.
You cannot go over. The Rock's going over.
All right, well then whatever. Then I'll charge my rate twice. Screw it.
All right. Well, just for context, there's a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
There you go. Dang. Okay.
Yes.
Sheesh.
And he did not win that match either. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I hope that I'm traveling all over. I hope that I have at least a good connection or starting to think about doing like a world tour, if not already getting signed.
Okay.
So.
Did I cut you off?
No, go ahead.
Okay. And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what you are as a pro wrestler?
I would say, let me think. Well, I don't know. I feel like that's a good question. I feel like for me, all of them. I know that's kind of like a cliche answer, but I like to think that every time I'm something new, I'm something different, because I do wrestle with emotion, and my emotion is different every time, and you don't see the same thing twice. So I like to try. I mean, I have my favorite opponents, obviously, that I go against in my favorite matches, but I really do try to thrive to have like a banger match every single time, something that people can actually go home and talk about and remember and see on social media, you know?
So type in Savanna Stone on YouTube and just binge all your matches.
I mean, yeah, give me the views, bro. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. And you can do that after this interview, of course. And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom. This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Eddie Guerrero.
Worst wrestler.
I don't know. Freaking, what's his name? I honestly have no idea. I can't think of it. I'm sure there's so many bad wrestlers, bro. The guy from Texas that I just said to all of it.
I will accept that answer.
Okay.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Rhea Ripley.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Paige.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
very much alive.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast. Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
Vegetable.
It is indeed a fruit.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
It has seeds, tomato logic.
Seeds? Yeah, I figured that's where you were going with it.
But you're part of...
Well, then whatever. I'm more of a vegetable fan, but whatever. I guess that's down. I can say that's a fruit. That means I eat fruit. Then whatever.
Well, you are a part of Squash Squad now, and that means a hell of a lot more. New Japan wrestler Tai Chi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Something where your ass cheeks aren't hanging out. You gotta tuck it in. You gotta keep it all in.
So
leave a little bit for the imagination, you know?
So full coverage.
Yeah, full coverage, bro.
Okay. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No, I have not.
And that is the correct answer.
Yeah.
And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. And once again, where can we find all things Savanna Stone on social media and your merchandise?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go ahead and follow me at Savanna Stone 01 on my Instagram, and the link on my bio has my website attached to it. So you can just go ahead and click that, and find a bunch of fancy, cool, Savvy Stone, Savage Violence related stuff. You can also go ahead and check out my Facebook, which is just Savanna Stone. I have TikTok as well, Savanna Stone 01. I have a YouTube channel that you can check out. So yeah, go ahead and follow me. Let's check out and see what's new, what I got going on.
Okay. And you don't even have to type it into your Google machines. All of the links to all her social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn shirt. Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, but on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us tomorrow as we interview Madness, and join us every Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews. Follow the show at Wrestling with E, but on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling with, you say entertainment, okay?
Okay.
For our special guest Savanna Stone, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.